Hello, hello, hello. Hey, YouTube. Do not be mistaken. This is not the correct time. It's well, it might be that time somewhere, depending on where you're at. But it is 6:30 Central Standard Time. We're going live for the Create and Q&A. I feel like this goes this way. Okay. And then we'll be getting up on the Instagram things. And the lighting is not the best, but we're not here for that. Alrighty, we live. Let's welcome Instagram. Welcome to the party. It's Create and Q&A Wednesday. I've honestly been really looking forward to these um, sessions. So thank you to the people who pop in, who give me feedback, and the people who just show up and say, hey, I appreciate you doing this. I like seeing you around because I like seeing it too. I like being around. If you don't know who I am, you're just coming across this video through some random algorithm because you have decided to turn your algorithm into a more positive space. My name is Anjulique, also known as Anjulique the artist, and I am an artist. I'm a spiritual life coach, and I am a youth mental wellness advocate. And my intention with these Create and Q&As is to offer a space to have conversation about different topics while also allowing myself to express creatively and to inspire you to express creatively. Okay. And today we're going to be talking about accountability. While we do our oil pastels, it's been a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a couple weeks since I've gotten to the pastels. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And if you had tuned in to one of my previous pastel streams, the one that I made from that last pastel stream is actually officially a part of the um, Universal Law Collection. It came to me as the uh, Law of Vibration. So, yay, doing that. But first, I'm going to get my rag so I can wipe my fingies off. All right, we're back. We're back. And Instagram, I know the lighting is not the best, but this is where I wanted to be today. So it's more about the conversation anyway. And it said it was letting people know I was on here. I'm not sure if there's a way that I can tag people. It's just saying invite to join, but I don't know if that means like the live or whatever. And TBH, I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's talk about accountability. So there are a few things that were coming up for me as far as this topic is concerned. And the first one that I will touch on is something that Gary Vee says often, but I was watching one of his videos today, and he was um, somebody asked a question about AI and how it is um, catered to the white male voice. And I really had to stop for a second hearing that because I didn't particularly understand what they meant by that. Um, like it really just wasn't registering my brain. Like even now, I don't even know what to particularly think about that. But what Gary said was that um, everything has a he didn't say the word bias, but uh, that's essentially what it is. Everything has a bias, especially, the things made by human beings. The universe doesn't have a bias, nature doesn't have a bias. Um, but anything created by the human being has some sort of bias associated with it because we all have our own unique experiences. So we're going to create and perceive from that unique experience, period. And that unique experience is unique for everyone. So we can't really say what someone else's experience would be or is. And we can't say that we speak for all the people all the time. It's just not a thing. And as we are going through creating these technologies, they are majority created by white males. Wow. And something that Gary Vee, hey Raymel, I still got my glove off, so I'm gonna wave at you. Um, Something that Gary Vee brought into that conversation was the point that um, these technologies are largely created by white males, and where we need to focus more is on the conversations of education and access to these different opportunities to create technologies and interacting with the technologies. And that's not the technology's fault. And just the fact that this individual, who honestly sounded like a white male, just putting my own bias out there, uh, it just was like, why are you even asking that? What kind of question is it? But Gary brought in the point of we have to be accountable as human beings to understand that we are creating these technologies and this is the way that the creativity is happening, and these are the people who have access to it and the people who are doing it, and if we want that to shift, then we need to assist with creating that shift and not just complain about it. So that was one part of accountability, and he also talks a lot about um, parents taking accountability when it comes to social media. And Leah and I had a wonderful conversation on the Teen Years Room on Monday about how the internet and the way that it's used as a search engine tool, especially for young people, um, how it's needed, how children need guidance in using it because they go on there with their strictly children brains because they are children and they think that something's going to pop up based on how they perceive it popping up. But there's so much on the internet, literally all of the human thoughts and things. So parents need to, if they have a concern about their child, they need to be more accountable and be there to guide them in the searching and the inquiring. So um, that was a beautiful conversation. But just in life in general, like I was saying, Gary Vee also talks about this with the social media. Like they don't buy themselves tablets and phones and computers. They don't pay the internet bills and set all the things up. How are you blaming the media, the social media, when you are supposed to be the one watching your child? Like, do you actually have some concern about what they're doing? Do you have some intention on guiding them in life? Then that's a part of the guiding them in life. We can't just go around saying, oh, social media this, social media that. Um, are you teaching your child to trust their inner voice? Are you teaching them discernment? Are you teaching them awareness? Because if not, then yeah, they're gonna go on the internet with their open child mind and just take all that stuff in with zero filter, with zero filter. Um, so it's important that before they even start getting online, or if they have questions about things that they are seeing online, that you take accountability with guiding them in that exploration. It's just like if your child sees something in the world and they're like, "Mommy, why is this?" I almost said robot. Lord, we're not there yet, but we're getting there soon. um, why is this rhinoceros doing this thing to the other rhinoceros? Why is that bee doing this thing with the other bee? Why is this person driving that way? There's so many different things that a child will ask, um, because they're new to the world, and you're supposed to say, oh, well, this is this and this is that. And you don't have to be right about everything. As I mentioned earlier, everything that's created with humans has some sort of bias from its own individual perspective. However, you should be there to offer that guidance if that's something they come to you for. But if you just dismiss the child, if you just put them down and tell them like, don't be asking me questions, or don't talk about that, or look away, is going to either, well, probably both, build a curiosity and or a fear. And that's going to stay with them, and that's going to linger with them. And either with that curiosity, they're going to go ask someone else. And now in this new age, that's going to be the internet. Or they ask like somebody in their child age range, somebody in their class who maybe, that kid who always knew all the things. The kid that had like way too much exposure at an early age. It just knew everything. Well, you thought they knew everything, but really, again, children. Um, and they're gonna go with that curiosity, or they're gonna completely shut down from that thing, and again, filter that into their teenagers, into their adulthood, and then one day be like, oh, I realize I have this block because I had this experience, and what's going on? My life feels like it's not moving abundantly, or it's not like things are not happening the way I want them to. What's going on? Oh, I have this inner child work that I need to do because my parents did not guide me in a certain situation or circumstance. And you just have to take accountability with that. And I'm so grateful for the awareness that I have now, because when I was younger, I really, even now, I was a much more passionate about it when I was younger, but I was really concerned by how people went around in the world having children unconsciously, just like, oops, we did a thing and now we have a baby and whatever. It's just like, what do you mean? That's a whole human life. That's a whole human being. What do you mean? Just, oh, it happened and now whatever. No tea, no shade to anybody who's had um, children out of wedlock or whatever. Um, I'm just simply, it was something that really registered with me to be like, I don't want to be in that situation. I really want to be able to be there with my children and enjoy this life journey with them. Um, and like I said, I used to be pretty upset about by those things, but I've come to understand it's all just a part of the human experience. Um, and there's no reason for me to have any judgment on that, period. Um, but I do appreciate the awareness I have now to be able to um, have that wherewithal when my children come to me with those questions, to just have the awareness of like, let's both be open to what the situation is, and what the possible explanations are, because we can never really know the full story of anything. Um, Raymel chiming in here with some knowledge. He says, people often think accountability means blaming versus seeing accountability as an awareness to create change and expand and grow. Yes, yes. When people think of accountability, typically, if they are not somebody who is actively participating in like accountability community, they consider that word as like, I don't want to say discipline, um, but they associate it with that kind of harsher tone, for that very reason that he said, blame. Blame has damaged so many people's um, growth, because if you can't take accountability for yourself, your actions, your childhood that you didn't raise yourself, right? But you have to take accountability for the fact that you were a child and these things happened, and now you have a human life to live. Are you going to take accountability and say, I'm going to um, stop living from my traumatic childhood? And even if it wasn't that traumatic, just living from my childish ideas and fantasies about situations, people, opportunity, myself. It's just awareness. It's just awareness and saying, oh, I can change this. And awareness is such a beautiful gift. It's been one of my favorite gifts from doing this self development work, is just being like, oh, I can be aware. I can simply acknowledge and feel okay, feel safe, feel seen, feel respected, and not feel shame, blame, or guilt. Simply have the awareness because I know, I understand that I have the power to create anything going forward once I have the awareness. And I decide to be accountable to making the change that I want to see. Powerful share, Raymel. Thank you for bringing that into it. Because that is a huge part of why a lot of people do not take accountability, because they were so used to getting in trouble, getting reprimanded. And I gotta say, for myself, definitely been going through some of my inner child work, um, and dealing with that reprimanding energy. I actually, oh, I love that you brought that up, Raymel, because I literally, on my way to work, I've decided to not listen to music on my way to work um, these days, because I have like a nice 25, 30-minute walk to my investor, I should say. Um, and today I had this sensation that I needed to address something. My inner child needed to be addressed. And I realized that um, I had this uneasiness that came when I took action on something um, without direct direction in doing it, like just independently choosing to do something. And just for reference, at my investor, um, I help do display and merchandising and build things, right? And so we've been getting in like the seasonal stuff, and there is one of those merchandising guides, like a planogram thing. And TBH, the management is not really even about it, but I like to be like, ooh, what are all the details? Give me the tea. And I went to ask one of the managers, like, okay, so this is what it looks like on the planogram, but our store really isn't set up that way. Is this supposed to go on an end cap, or is it supposed to go on the wall? And they were like, I'm not really sure. You have to ask the header manager. And I was like, okay. And they were like, in the meantime, just kind of like move around, like do, some sort of other things. And I was like, okay. And then they were also like, but if you want to just put it up, you can too. There's just like a lot of spread of instruction from the management here. And so I took the liberty, um, given the direction that I was given, to just kind of put things up there, but also, check in, to just kind of put some things up and see what happened. And that was yesterday. And then today, um, I was like, okay, let's see if anybody has anything to say. And nobody had anything to say. But on my way to work, I had this uneasiness where I was like, ooh, what if they say this? Or what if they say that? And what if I have to move this thing? And I realized that my inner child, um, was having a moment of, mm, I guess, unacceptance, disapproval. That's the word. Was having a moment of, um, disapproval, feeling disapproved and feeling unaccepted. And I had to simply tap into that part of myself and say that you are a creative being. You were made to create, you were made to explore, you were made to innovate. Um, and all of those times where you were in the midst of that creation, exploration, and someone reprimanded you, disciplined you, told you to stop, raised their voice at you, questioned you, put you down. Um, that was just them from their own perspective of life, because they weren't there participating in the situation. They may have just come into it and are like, what's going on? And just shut it down. But that has nothing to do with your ability to create, your intelligence around creation, your, um, ability to make your own choices and make choices that are smart and productive and contribute in a beneficial way. None of what anybody said to you or did to you in those moments has anything to do with your ability to make powerful decisions that support a cause. And I really had to have that moment, um, on my way to work this morning, because I was like, there's no reason. I already know the people at this place really don't even care that much. So why am I feeling uneasy about a decision that I made that I think looks really good? And the point is to make it shoppable and attractive. So I think I did that. And guess what? Nobody said anything. It was a totally fine day. Kept putting stuff out. They actually like, thank you very much. You feel me? And I was able to just enjoy being at my investor and being a creative person. And I say all that because we can get so caught up in our feelings of blame and shame and guilt, and we don't take those moments to say, like, where is this actually coming from? Why do I feel guilty? Why do I feel, um, ashamed? Why do I feel uneasy? It's so often that we get, conditioned into numbing things, into dismissing things, into just completely ignoring them. Be like, oh, I don't hear that little voice whispering. Or we get accustomed. We're like, oh, I'm just having anxiety because I'm going to be around people, or I got to go to work, or whatever. It's just anxiety. But why is it happening? Where is it really coming from? It's not just because you have to go be around people, because you have to go do some tasks. That is not it. There is something deeper. It's accountability. You have to be accountability for your. You have to be accountability. You do have to be accountability for yourself, but you have to be accountable for yourself. And if you can get that self accountability muscle strong, it will really benefit you. Absolutely. Thank you, Raymel. I said that's how it always happens. LOL. Right? You're getting so pressed, just so internally pressed, thinking it's about to go down, about to hit the fan, and then no one cares. Literally, no one cares, and everything is fine, and the world keeps spinning because everyone's living their own life experience. And it's okay, and it allows you, accountability allows you to live from such a powerful place, because you get to really live in that knowing, in that acknowledgement that everybody is living in their own experience, and that you're responsible for being in your own experience and not being concerned about what other people are experiencing because of your experience. That's not your job. Lisa Nichols' grandma say, other people's perception is not your responsibility. Okay? So don't be trying to take that on. That is not in your job description. That is not on your soul contract. That is not a part of anything that you have to worry about. Okay? But the society will have you think that it is. Because as human beings, we do have a need for community to share services and resources with, to learn from, to grow with, to share experiences with. And that's a part of being in a community. But we get so we've come to be so wrapped up in, ooh, what does this person think of me? If they don't think of me this way, then we won't have the same relationship, and yada yada blah blah. The spiral goes on. But in reality, if you're really meant to be in relationship with that person, um, in the way that you would like to be, then that will naturally happen. Otherwise, you need to check yourself, accountability for the way that you're perceiving these relationships, and move from there, because it is not anybody else's, because anybody else's perception is not your responsibility. It's all about how you perceive yourself, and once you get that accountability with yourself, powerful stuff. And honestly, I feel like there are some people who don't want individuals to be accountable for themselves because they understand how powerful that is. Um, Raymel said accountability is the door opener to awareness. 100. 100. He said that just came to me as you were sharing. Excuse me. Yeah, it is. And here's the thing, awareness is the precursor to taking accountability. They like cycle together, because once you become aware of something, it's like, oh, this thing is going on in my life. Now I can decide to be accountable for it. And then as you're more accountable, you start getting greater awareness and greater expansion, because you start trusting yourself to say, oh, I can really truly see myself and accept myself and create a shift, because I'm responsible with taking my own action. I'm responsible with being aware and being accountable with that awareness. It's a beautiful, I just made a video about session 11 of the Abundance Now course. And in it I said, I just love being in this work. I love being in this work. I love the awareness. I love investigating myself. You know how some people are really into those NCIS shows and the Law and Orders and all that? That's kind of how I am with myself. I'm like, why do I feel like there was a crime committed against me? Let's explore this. What crimes am I committing against myself? Let's explore this. and get to the root of it. You feel me? And no cliffhangers, no left on reds. You feel me? Um, like really, truly getting to it. And guess what? It's always me. It's always me. It's always me. It's always me. And that is not, and you see me laughing about it because it's not a blame, shame, or guilt thing. It's just like, oh, ding dong. I had a perception. I had an expectation. I had an idea. Guess I don't need that anymore because it's causing me some sort of distress. It's causing me some sort of confusion. Um, and or it's just inaccurate because a lot of times those expectations, those ideas, um, are really again based from different experiences in your childhood, and your childhood mind is an imagination machine, and it's also a um, system that's built to build your understanding of the world. So you're building your reality based on these imaginings. And then as you grow older and you have experience and not just imaginings, those realities begin to shatter and crumble because you're like, oh, I really thought this was a real thing. And it ain't. And you can hold yourself with grace and understanding because, again, you were a child. And even if it's something that you begin believing in your adulthood, oh, I was just unaware and now I'm more aware. It's a beautiful transmutation of energy between accountability and awareness, because it really allows you to unfold into new spaces and places and opportunities and experiences and frequencies. Raymel is dropping some knowledge here. I gotta take off my glue. Let's see. Raymel said, "We are awareness, aka consciousness, aka spirit. Once we hold ourselves accountable for what we have created in our lives, then we can use our power of choice to change things we no longer experience." Accountability reminds you that you have a choice through awareness of the creation you are experiencing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and something came up for me, but then it slipped away because I was like still reading the rest and I wanted to make sure I finished before I went down a rabbit hole. Let me see. Once we hold ourselves accountable for what we have created in our lives, then we can use our power of choice to change things we no longer experience. It'll come if it needs to. But absolutely, we are all. Oh, I remember it. See, you just let things go. They'll come back if they're really meant to. So, the Halloween things are coming up, and I'm about to pop off of this thing pretty soon. Um, just give you a little flash of where we're at right now. Okay, okay, okay. I think I like it this way. Ooh. Okay, okay. Just a little flash, because you're on here with me. I appreciate you. But the Halloween things are around the corner, girl. And there's the talk of like the demons and the ghouls and, the spirits and all of these things. And I had this aha moment where I realized demons, the devil, all of that, um, are all a part of the creation. They are a part of the divine oneness. And in that, and this is something that I heard Michael Beckwith say during an agape service. He said, like, there is no energy that isn't love. There's just like higher love or a very low frequency of love. And because we're all the divine oneness, we're all from the creator, and the creator is love. Spirit is love. And I was thinking about all the demon things and the devil things, and I was like, yo, all of that is the divine oneness too. All of that is God too. And if you're someone who is afraid of demons, or you're like, the devil is coming for me, really observe that and see why that scares you or why that makes you uneasy. Because again, there's something that you can be taking accountability for and have the power of choice to change, that has nothing to do with a demon or the devil or any of that. Any of that. And I just had this aha that was like, there's no reason for me to even like criticize a demon or a devil or anything, like any of that, and be like, oh, that's bad or that's negative. Um, because it's all a part of the divine oneness. And if something of that energy is showing up in your atmosphere, first, my suggestion would be to remind it that it is a part of the divine oneness. And then acknowledge to yourself, this is showing me something. This is here to enlighten me in some way, shape, or form. This is here for me to understand, hey, there's something in my life that I can be more accountable with. I can choose something different in this situation. You feel me? But yeah, I just had that moment today. I was like, the demons are a part of the divine oneness. Just like the mosquito or a scorpion or some people don't like sharks. Sharks. Um, is a part of they're the part of the divine oneness, and there's no reason to um, be afraid of or um, criticize or you know any of that. Criticizing and stuff typically comes from fear, because when you hear demon, you're like, demon, devil, I'm going hell, bad, bud. See, like, I can't even like I really can't even take it serious anymore, because I just realized, like, yo, this is just divine oneness. This is just a lower frequency of love that's trying to express something to me. And once I can really take that accountability for what it's expressing, then I don't have to be like, ooh, this is a demon. Ray Mouse says all of that is created in the mind and experienced in the mind. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I love Halloween. I love the energy of the seasons changing, um, and just the shifting of the atmosphere and the weather, and there is like heightened spiritual energy around. I for sure am like into that. But as far as it being like, oh, the demons are coming out to play. Watch your doorsteps, hide your kids, hide your wife. Um, I think that's just, again, what Raymel said. It's something that people have created in the mind and create in other people's minds to, do certain things, like have power. But that's a whole other conversation for a different day. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and talk about accountability with y'all, because Priscilla had asked about how do you hold yourself accountable during our conversation about action. Um, and I was like, that's a real deal Holyfield question, because uh, like Raymel said earlier, when people think of accountability, they hear blame, they hear shame, they hear guilt, and they don't know how to process that. Um, a lot of people don't know how to process that. They get stuck in it and they get magnetized to it, and you know what where energy grows. So it just like keeps spiraling. But once you actually deal with it, take that self accountability, it dissolves. Raymel says people use Halloween as a way to express the inner thought within and call it not calling your thought demons. You're so right though. You're so right though. But they also do that with Carnival in a way where it's more of a lighthearted way. But the idea is you're letting out all of your wild side and different things like that. Um, but really, it's just a part of you wanting to express yourself. Like, does it have to be some like wild, crazy thing? It's a perception, the one that gets fed to people so that they don't actually express themselves. But like I said, that's a whole different conversation for another day. But I appreciate you being on here, Raymel. You're always so um, contributive and profound. And I really appreciate us knowing each other. I realize, like, I feel like every few months, I realize that we just known each other for quite some time. I'm like, dang, we really known each other for some years now. We've been on this journey. And it just always feels so new but so familiar. It's a wonderful experience knowing you and loving you, Brother Raymel. So I appreciate you being here. Um, but yeah, Raymel said he'll probably go live in a little bit because he's out walking right now. Listen, let me go ahead and shut this down so I can see what Brother Raymel had to say. And if you don't know who Raymel Bentley is, definitely check out his page, Raymel Bentley. He's a powerful speaker, energy coach. He's doing a series on the universal laws with the Bentley Gems podcast. Looking out for that. Just so grateful for all the ways that he's helped to transform my life and address my energy and hold me accountable. Because sometimes you don't see it and someone else has to see it for you. But then you have to be the one who takes the action, right? But yeah, definitely go check him out. I love you too, Brother Raymel. And I love you, whoever is watching this, happens to catch this. I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Well, maybe not same place in my room, but the same thing on here on Instagram. Talking about something different. And if you have any questions, let me know in my DMs. And maybe that might be the topic for next week or one of those. All right, so have a beautiful, wonderful, spectacular, magical evening. I gotta put a little flair, a little Halloween, because you deserve it, because you are worthy, because you can absolutely create it. Okay, bye. Okay, YouTube, I know you're still on here. I'm also gonna shut this down because the lighting is just not there. Um, but this is where we are so far with this. I really do think I like it this way. This looks nice. But yeah, again, I appreciate you being here, and I will make the cover the final piece so that we can share that together. And I'm also thinking about putting it on my Instagram as just one post of all of the different pieces that have come together through this beautiful space that we share. I'm so grateful um, for the opportunity to use this technology to connect with you all in this way. So, um, also, you have a beautiful, wonderful, spectacular, magical day because you deserve it, because you are worthy, because you can, again, absolutely create it. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.